Welcome. In this video, we're going to cover how you can obtain the user managed access reference implementation project from GitHub and get it running in a Docker and Docker Compose environment. I got a temporary folder here on my desktop. I also have installed on my desktop is the Docker desktop for the Mac, which is a requirement. We'll take a quick look here at the GitHub page. It's under the ForgeRock account called FRDP-containers-UMA. And if you read through it here, it talks about the prerequisites. I'm going to download the project first. So let's go do that. I'm going to do a download from a zip file, which I already did. And let's go copy that from my downloads folder. So I'm going to go copy to the downloads FRDP-container zip. Actually, I don't need to copy it. I need to unzip it. So we're just going to unzip it. Unzip it. We're going to unzip it to this folder. And that gives us a folder that contains the project. The next step we need to follow is the prerequisite for the ForgeRock Access Manager and Amster binaries. We get those from a Backstage account. You'll have to log in to download these two files. I already have them inside my temp folder. I just need to install them in a staging location. And that staging location is here. It's in Containers, Auth Server, Docker, Resources. So I'm going to copy this path. And I'm going to do a copy am.war to FRDP here. And I'm going to copy Amster to FRDP and there. Now we're ready to actually build the environment. But before we do that, we have one more requirement. We're going to take a look here. We have to set up our Etsy hosts. We have to add 2 aliases to our local host. And we're going to check that here. We're going to do a grep for example.com and Etsy hosts. And as you can see here, I have as.example.com and rs.example.com on the localhost interface. Back to documentation. Now we basically do the Docker Compose command. And we'll discuss what's happening through each step of the build process and run process. So we go into the folder, RDP, and we're going to run Docker Compose up build. Just to prove we have nothing already running, I'll do a Docker ps-a. You see we have no containers running or containers created. So let's do our Docker Compose again. Up minus build. First thing it's going to build is the Authorization Server. It has a name of AS. It's going to add a couple extra commands to a Tomcat container, which this is based on. From here, we're going to copy over those files we put in. We're going to mount and reference some other folders, move over some other files that are used during the install process. Now that the container is started up, we're actually going to go through the configuration process for the ForgeRock Access Manager. Load in some scheme information, load in configuration data, now the Authorization Server, ForgeRock Access Manager, is configured. We're importing some configurations that are unique to the user managed access environment. We had to configure the UMA services, 2 OAuth clients, and we ended up adding some sample users. One user is the resource owner, the other is the requesting party. What we're doing now is we're actually doing a compile of the source code. That's the open source resource server, which are other ForgeRock GitHub projects. So we started a Maven container, and inside the Maven container, we do a Git. We grab those source files and we do a Maven build on it. And from the build, we're going to get jar files and we're going to get war files. Those war files are going to be used then to build two other containers. One of them's the content server, and the content server stores metadata about resources that the resource server will register. And the other one is the resource server itself. So as you see, we're going through compiling each project, downloading them, getting all the Maven dependencies. And now we're in the process of doing the resource server. We just completed the content server. The other container that's being configured is MongoDB. The MongoDB is used to store the metadata for the resource server, and the content server stores its information as JSON files in MongoDB. So the containers have been built, now they're starting. You see the different colors for each one. The name UMA-AS is the authorization server. UMA-DB is the MongoDB. UMA-CS is the content server. And UMA-RS is the resource server. So we're just waiting for them all to start up here. And the last one I know I'm going to wait for is this server startup of the authorization server. So we'll just take a quick peek here in another terminal and see how we're doing. So we'll do docker ps-a. And we're good to go. So everything's ready, everything's running. So now we're going to use Postman to demonstrate the UMA resources. What I mean by that is we're going to log in as a resource owner, and we're going to create a resource, register it, and assign a policy. Then we're going to use another person, which is going to be the requesting party, and we're going to go through the user managed access flow of requesting access to a resource. So for that, we're going to go to Postman. We do provide in the project the Postman collections and environment files that are already pre-configured for this environment. So please download those and load them into your Postman, and you'll be ready to go with what I'm about to show you here. So first thing we're going to do is the resource owner, and we need to authenticate. So here we're logging into the authorization server, and we have a login step here. We're just logging in, and we get logged in. We're going to actually validate the user, make sure we're logged in as the right user, and we are. D. Crane is the resource owner. Now we're going to actually create a resource. We don't have a resource in the system. We can do a quick check, see if we have any resources. And we do a search. We have no resources. So let's do a create. We're going to run the create content default. What we're going to create is a resource that has some metadata in it. And we have some content. So this is the actual JSON payload that we're going to be managing. We set the registration information for user managed access. These are the allowed scopes for this resource: content, meta, print, and download. We have an icon we're going to associate, and then we have a policy, and the policy is what says who can do what to this resource. So we have 3 subjects we're going to control, and we're going to have different scopes for each one of those subjects. So we can do this in one command here, and just by going on here and clicking send, we're going to send this to the resource server, and we should get back a 201 created. And we have that. So the user's been created. Excuse me, the resource has been created. Let's go back and rerun our search, and we hit search. Yes, we get back a GUID, which is our resource, and we can read it back. So we can see that the resource actually exists in the resource server. And we can see it is here. We see who the owner is, what its current state is. There's our metadata, there's our content, and there's our registration information. There's other things in this Postman collection I won't go over in this video, but you can try them out for managing and manipulating the metadata, the content, registration, policies, and some other features. So what we're going to do here is we're going to change hats, if you will. I'll close all tabs here. But before we do that, let's log into the ForgeRock Access Manager. And we're going to log in as a D Crane. So I log in as D Crane. Default password is documented on the instruction page here. And there's a share menu tool. We go to resources and we can see that I have one shared resource, or one resource that I'm sharing. And here's who I'm sharing it with: B. Jensen, M. Yoshida, and A. Adams. So we can confirm that that resource has been properly registered and shared. So we'll log out as that user. Let's go back to our Postman. And we're now going to become the requesting party. I'm going to log in. First thing I want to do is I want to make sure my cookies are cleared, so I'm not Danny Crane. I need to be a new user. Postman likes it when you clear the cookies. So let's send. We get authenticated. We validate. We're Barb Jensen now, which is good. Now we're going to perform the actual UMA flow as the requesting party. Per the protocol, first thing we do is we submit a request for the resource, which we don't have the right requirements, or the requirement being a RPT, or requesting party token. So we get back a permission ticket. This is one half of the equation to get an RPT. The next thing we need to do is we're going to get an authorization code from the Authorization Server. Here's our code. Then we're going to get a claim token using the authorization code flow. Now we have the claim token and the permission ticket. We can actually go request a requesting party token. So we go through that step, and now we have our RPT, and we can resubmit the request to get access to the resource. And as you can see here, we get back the resources, we get the meta information. We can see scopes for the requests, scopes for the resource, what's in the token, what's in the policy, and the status of success. And here's the actual content that's associated with the resource. Let's go and take a look at this user in the ForgeRock Access Manager. So that was B. Jensen. And instead of my resources, we look at shared with me. And here we can see that this resource has been shared with B. Jensen. That was an overview of how to download, build, run the actual user managed access reference implementation using Docker and Docker Compose. I don't know if we took a look at that. Yep, everything is still running. Hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching.